makers, today we're going to be doing an easy tutorial on a lovely sunset with a bunch of sailboats in the water. This is great for a summer painting. Now my paints today, I am using white, black, blue, red, and yellow. I also have some mixing plates to mix up all of my colors. I have a water can to wash my brushes, some paper towels, and I'm only using 2 different types of brushes today. I have one big square flat brush for my background, and then I have one small pointy brush for all my fine details like my boats and stars. Now the first step we need to do is our background. First we're going to grab our mixing plate and our large flat brush. Make sure you dry it off before we mix up our color. Now the first color we're going to be creating is going to be a lovely sky blue. So I'm going to be starting off with a little scoop of white and a very, very small touch of blue and mixing those together. We want it to be very light. You can always add more blue if you need to. Now with this blue, we're going to be starting at the top of our canvas and painting in about 1 inch of this just right at the top. I don't need to have these brush strokes super consistent all the way across. It can be a little messy. We're just throwing this blue in, just about 1 inch of it. And I'm also going to do the same thing to the bottom edge. The bottom edge has a little bit more than the top, or the top is a little bit more than the bottom. That's okay. And then once we have those blue sections in, we're going to quickly rinse off our brush and get into some white paint. Doing the same type of brush stroke just right underneath of the blue. In the sky, we're going to throw the white right underneath of it and blend the 2 colors together. So you want that blue paint to still be a little wet, so when you blend together, that middle line fades away and it gradually goes from light blue into white. Now we're going to do the same thing to the bottom edge, but this time the white goes above the blue and we blend them the same way. Next, we're going to be mixing up an orange for our sky, so I'm going to get a clean big brush and we're going to be mixing up an orange with a little bit of white, a big scoop of our yellow, and just a little bit of red. Start with a little bit, you can always add more if you need to. We're going to be making sort of like a pumpkin-y shade orange. And with this color, we're going to be starting in our sky. We're going to give a little bit of a gap between the blue and where our orange is going to be, maybe like 1 inch or 2. And we're going to be painting this in a sort of rainbow fashion. There's a little bit of a curve to it. It's not straight across, right? I'm going to be throwing in a good 1 inch or 2 of this color and work fairly quickly. We are going to be blending a color above and a color below this, and we do not want it to dry. Once you get the orange in, clean off your brush, and we're going to be getting into a little bit of white paint and blending some white right above the orange to blend it out into that section of our sky. I'm going to clean off my brush again, and we're going to be getting into some red paint, and we're going to be blending red right underneath of our orange. So we're going to find our horizon line, which is where our sky ends and our water begins, or vice versa, and we're going to be putting our red straight across our canvas and then blending in that curved-like shape underneath of our orange. Next, we're going to be adding a little bit of red into our water. So using the blade of our brush, just that tip edge, we're using really thin lines. Starting at the top of the water, these lines are really long. But as we get down towards the bottom of the water, they become shorter and shorter and shorter. And these lines start to form sort of like a tornado-like effect. Once we get that in, we're going to clean off our brush, and we're going to be doing the same type of technique with these brush strokes, but we're going to be mixing up a new color by adding some white to our orange and creating a lovely peach. Now with this peach, we're going to be throwing lines just like we did with the red, but it's going to be on the sides of the red and underneath of the red in the water. If they do so happen to mix together a little bit, that's okay. Next, we're going to get a clean brush in some white paint, and using the same technique of making those really small lines, we're going to throw some white pretty much throughout all of our water just to break up some of this color. Now we're going to be taking our small pointy brush and actually using the handle to poke in some stars. You simply take the handle, you poke your white paint, and you poke your canvas. It's as easy as that. We're going to be putting a ton of stars throughout our sky, as many or as few of these as you like, and I tend to keep them towards the top or middle areas of our sky since we are going to be having some sailboats kind of going up through into our sky, and we don't want to take up too much space with the stars. Now once we're done with our stars, we are going to be painting in our sun that is setting. It's going to be over here, bottom right corner of our sky, and it's going to be a little semicircle or a little rainbow shape. So I'm going to take my small brush and swirl it into my white paint, and we're just going to draw a little rainbow right over here. I'm going to leave a small gap from the bottom of my horizon line or my sky, and I'm just going to fill in the underneath side of our sun. We have a little half circle. Now I'm going to get a clean brush in some black paint. We're going to be painting in all the mountains in the background. So the first thing I want to do is draw a line right through the center, right on our horizon line. Try and make it as straight as you can, so feel free to take your time with this step. Then we're going to add all the little mountains on top. So with that black paint, we're just going to draw a bunch of little lumps and bumps. Some are higher, some are lower. Make tall mountains, make little valleys, whatever you want them to be. Just make sure that when you get over to the sun, you make sure there's no red paint underneath of it. You cover the bottom section of that area with the black paint. Once you get your mountain range drawn in, you can fill it all in with the black. Alright, now it's time to paint in our sailboats. I'm going to show you the basic shapes, starting with our largest sailboat here. The basic shape is to start off with the just main line of our boat, how long it is. So I'm just going to put in a random line. That's how long I want my boat to be. Then we're going to draw two diagonal lines downwards in a slight angle inwards. The back of the boat is going to be a little bit shorter than the front of the boat. The front of the boat's going to have a little bit of a longer line. So the initial line you make in the beginning could be angled upwards a little bit if you want to. Then we're just going to connect those lines. It could be a straight line, it could be a wiggly line, depends on how much movement you have in your water. Then there's a small part on top of the boat where people usually are actually in if they want to get rid of like the rain or wherever they're driving the boat. It's sort of like a little rectangle shape, but the end lines are angled outwards. Now we're going to draw, I think it's called the mast, the thing that holds the sail up, right? So one line, the tall line goes all the way up into our sky and then comes down into somewhere in the middle of that second rectangle shape we made. Then we're going to be drawing two diagonal lines outward. down to that same section in our boat, creating sort of like a kite shape or a triangle shape. And that is the basic shape for our boat. You can take the black paint and you can fill in all of those shapes or tweak anything if you need to. Feel free to add as many boats as you like. Some boats are going to be further away. If they are further away, you just want to make sure they are smaller in size. And if they are towards the bottom of your canvas, they should be closer, so they should be larger in size. You can even have some boats that go off the edge of your canvas so you wouldn't get the full shape of the boat. Feel free to play around with where you place all of your sailboats. Now we want to add some movement lines and some shadow lines into our water. So still using the same brush in black paint, we're going to draw really thin lines right underneath or on the sides of our boats. These lines can be straight, they can be a little wiggly if you want. Again, depends on how much movement you want your water to have. Feel free to put as many or as few of these lines as you like. I love the look of this. I think it just adds a little bit of nice texture to our painting. Next, I'm going to get a clean brush and we're going to be grabbing some white paint to add our final step, which is the highlights in our boat. Still using, again, that brush in white paint, twirl it, and we're going to be drawing lines around the outside edges of the boat that we made. So the first shape we made, we're going to outline it. The second shape, that little rectangle, we're going to outline that. And then we're going to put a line down the center mast and the two lines on the side. And we're going to do that for every single one of our boats. This really helps them to stand out, especially against the mountains in the background. You can really see those lines a lot better. Now this is the last and final step to our painting. So when you are done, don't forget to sign your painting, claim it, it's yours, show it off. Everyone's going to be so impressed with what you've created, and we also want to see what you've created at home. Feel free to post them on social media, and you can tag us at muse_paintbar so we can check them out. And if you want to see more from our channel, any other tutorials that you want to see, feel free to like, subscribe, see what's going on our page. Feel free to put any comments if you guys have any questions on any of these paintings. And let us know what you'd like to see next. What would you like to learn how to paint? We want to create a tutorial for you. But thank you guys so much for joining me in painting this lovely sailboat painting. It was so much fun. And with that, don't forget to always paint outside the lines.